Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 317 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Monday, April 22nd, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how are you on a Talladega week?
Talladega Monday.
Yeah.
I thought for sure we might be racing today.
Yeah.
I had my hopes up.
Didn't even get a drizzle
no.
during the race.
We got it on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Talladega never disappoints.
Yeah.
Always good.
Well, I don't know.
And then,
according to Jeff Gluck's poll, it disappointed a little bit.
We might have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, for me, I always vote yes. It's
Yeah.
always good. Talladega's always great.
Are they racing? Then yes, it was a good race.
You're darn right, man. You're darn right. Anytime Talladega's on, I am pretty locked. I am as locked into Talladega as I am any week. And I watch, man, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I bet you I watch at least 80 to 85% of the laps during the season. I would say watch or listen to. There's not very many gaps, but Talladega I don't usually miss.
Yeah.
And I'd find I'd be hard. I mean, if the family had something going on Sunday, I'd have been in a grumpy mood.
Yeah.
Really grumpy mood.
So I have a bone to pick with NASCAR because NASCAR schedules the spring Talladega weekend for my wife's birthday weekend every year.
Oh, but it's usually a birthday week, isn't it?
Yesterday was the official birthday. And so I was squeezing this sucker in, and I watched the last 10 laps on my iPad as we were getting ready to go eat, which probably was slightly frowned upon. But it was the first time in my life that I actually hoped there wasn't a caution at the end, because if they would have had a caution and had to go to a green, white checker, I would have missed the end. I wouldn't have watched it live. So
you wouldn't have told Kay, hey, hold on.
No. We were going to the Stag on Spirit watch party, so we had to be there by 7:00, you know? So it was like, come on, no caution. They got the white flag, and I'm like, yes, first time in my life I've ever been like that in a super speedway race, because I like that green, white checker at the end to get things going. I couldn't believe that we didn't have 3 restarts at the end of that race.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know.
Especially with the whole field still being there, other than the Toyotas. I mean,
well, yeah, and as you know, I'm not sure. I'm too nervous to look at the fantasy overall standings yet. I was just trying to get Keselowski and I was trying to get Keselowski and McDowell to the checkered flag without any incident, because I was in big trouble from earlier. So I was like, "Oh, just get there and then we'll sort it out." And no, they didn't sort it out.
Yeah.
So what a mess.
Yeah, you look like you forgot to pick. You did so poorly.
Oh, I had 3 guys in single digits. Yeah, I had Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, and Michael McDowell.
And it's funny because I had Eric Jones in my lineup and I pulled him beforehand. And then I was going to put Bubba in. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to leave Bubba off.
Yep.
And it worked. I mean, I still finished, I think, 11th, but it was better than you.
Yeah, the 3 guys you think of when you think of this race and crashing, I had them on my team. Yeah.
Right. Well, didn't you have double? Weren't you in double digits at the finish?
I made it to double digits, but
oh my god, it was
wasn't
just
good.
Bad finish. Seriously, I looked at it this morning and I'm like, wow, did James forget to pick? And then it's like, no, I remember he said that he just had the wrong guys.
That's how Talladega goes, man. You get snake bit just like in real life, but holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of McDowell, I guess.
Do we want to go with the winner first?
Let's talk about the winner first. Yeah,
all right.
Let's do that because that paint scheme and the man behind the branding of that paint scheme got to go to victory lane. I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, I'm confused because you have in the notes here, you have the GOAT gets to celebrate in victory lane with Tyler Reddick.
That's right.
But I don't. Was LeBron James there this weekend?
LeBron James is in the middle of losing in the playoffs again. So. That's good.
I will take every opportunity.
LeBron James has lost 9 straight games to the Denver Nuggets, so he's in the middle of that streak.
Every opportunity I will take.
Yeah. The real GOAT was in Talladega, though, celebrating with us, NASCAR fans.
Yeah, MJ got the win in person finally.
Dude, he looked so happy.
I know.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
He actually cares, man.
Yeah, it's good. Really it's good to see he cares, and they were talking on the teardown too. Like he cares almost too much. Like he's in competition meetings that he probably shouldn't be in and stuff.
That's great. I'm all for it, man. He should be there.
Yeah. Hey, man.
I had a good conversation with somebody this week who said, I can't remember the exact words, how this all came out, but I summarized it. I said, he's a Denny Hamlin fan. And he was getting on me about how great Denny is and how great of an owner Denny is. And I'm like, man, Denny has a name on the building.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is the wife of that relationship. He owns it all. You know how you think you own stuff, but your wife really owns everything? That's the relationship. Michael Jordan owns everything.
To the point that the numbers on the side of the building are angled a specific angle.
Oh yeah.
Like it's to the T, the details on this new shop they built.
It's amazing, man. I mean, they have really outdone themselves in the state of the art. And I give Denny Hamlin a lot of crap for Denny Hamlin doing his whatever he's doing, but he's got it.
Well, look
right
at how far they've come, James. They've passed teams that bought existing teams.
Yeah.
And they legit started from, yes, they've got some help from Joe Gibbs Racing, but they're not a Joe Gibbs Racing team. And they literally started from scratch. And I had my doubts with Bubba Wallace, but he's run well.
Bubba's good.
And I mean, Reddick, man, that pickup, I knew that was going to be a big pickup. And I don't, honestly, despite the success that they've had, I still don't think that they haven't gotten near the best out of Tyler Reddick yet.
No, the weakness of Tyler Reddick is not behind the wheel.
Yeah.
It's on pit road.
Well, it's consistency all around. That's the whole problem with 2311 is they're just not consistent.
They have gaps.
Right.
They have some gaps.
But they're a 4-year-old team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have surpassed, you
not only that they're a 4-year-old team, but they went from renting pit crews from Joe Gibbs Racing to having their own pit crews because that wasn't working. I mean, they're doing it the right way and still succeeding at this level. I mean, Tyler Reddick made the final 8 last year.
Yeah, they have surpassed, that's a better organization than Stewart Haas.
Yeah.
They're on, I feel like they're on the doorstep of Penske, even though Penske's winning championships, but they're they're not that far off as far as weekly performance.
Yeah, they smoked Trackhouse, which is the closest competitor to them, but Trackhouse had a head start.
They're leaps and bounds ahead of Legacy, who's trying to get there. Legacy's trying to build kind of backwards from what 2311 did. They've been here forever, but they're trying to reestablish themselves. Yeah, that team, and Michael Jordan does not accept anything less. You know what I mean? And I gotta wonder for him. He said in Victory Lane, and he was great. He was like a little kid on TV waving to his family. It was great. But I have to wonder for him if he has had that high level of competition in a long time. Like he said, this scratches his itch, right? Like you can't get that team and that celebration, that camaraderie, and he loves being a part of it.
Right.
You don't get that on the golf course betting, he would like to do. This has to be, I'm wondering if this has been since his playing days that he's had a victory that has felt probably like he felt on Sunday. And when we saw him celebrating, it looked like he had won, a playoff game, a big game in the NBA Finals or something. It was awesome. I loved all of it.
And win with the Jumpman brand on the car.
Yeah.
And those paint schemes, every time they put that sponsor on the car,
beautiful.
They look awesome every single time.
Yep.
Just a cool deal. Cool deal.
And Bo Reddick gets to brag for all eternity, all time, all eternity, all time that he got to hang out with Michael Jordan. That's just Dad's boss.
Hang out with this old dude that he has no idea what he did.
Yeah. It was awesome, man. I loved every second of it. That was so good.
Yeah, it's very cool to see.
Win.
Very cool to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was very cool, but I really, really wanted the guy who finished second to win this race.
Oh, I was. That's such a great transition. I mean,
it was the repeat of his first win at Talladega.
It really was. And I tweeted this. He drove a perfect last however many laps that was. He was picture perfect all the way through until McDowell made the second block, and there was nothing he could do.
You get one block, you don't get two.
And that's one thing I did want to talk about, because that second block just is such a killer on these super speedways.
But what's he going to do? He's not going to win if he doesn't make the block.
Well, he's not going to win when he does.
I don't think if that block would have succeeded, I think if they wouldn't have wrecked, I think Reddick still wins this race.
Probably.
Because I watched the replay and Reddick's coming. And yes, Keselowski he does lose some speed with McDowell spinning off of his front end, but not a lot. Reddick was already gaining. I think Reddick wins this race anyway, where that start-finish line is.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot closer, but I think he wins that race anyway.
I just don't understand this. I'll never understand, and this is probably because I'm not an actual race car driver, as much as I'd like to be one, right?
Right.
I'll never understand the second block. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It never has, and it always ends up in just disaster, where he could have salvaged a really good day, and I know that team needs wins. I understand that. But the second block always wreaks havoc on super speedways.
Well, first of all, you don't want to be leading coming off of turn 4 at Talladega. You just don't.
Especially when Brad, man, when Brad's behind you, you're not making it.
No.
He's gonna he's gonna beat you fair and square, or he's gonna wreck you trying.
Yep.
You're not.
Yeah, and he's proven throughout his career at a super speedway that he'll hold the line and he'll turn you.
He won't. Yeah. Oh, from the, like you said earlier, when back his very first win with Carl Edwards, he held the line. He's not. Brad is very by the book, man. He will not.
Yep.
He won't. You're not winning that race with Brad on your tail. No, it won't happen.
Yep. Not only that, but Brad on your tail and TJ Majors in the spotter stand. I mean, arguably two of the best at a super speedway track, period.
Yep.
It doesn't get any better than that. The combination doesn't get any better.
It was really good to see Brad take the championship belt of super speedways back, because he was so good in that. I mean, it just was a reminder, like, oh yeah, when it comes to Talladega, that's the guy. Even though Blaney's got a ton of wins now, and he's won a bunch of races, and he's great.
Right.
But man, oh man, Brad.
But Brad's been good in multiple eras now.
Oh my God.
He's done the COT with the wing, without the wing, and now the next gen car as well. I mean,
I hate it for him, man.
Yeah,
I wanted to see him win.
Coming, man. He's gonna get a win.
Maybe he'll win Atlanta or something.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard. He looked. They interviewed him after the race, and he just looked. You could see it on his face, like, gosh dang it, man.
Yeah.
It's getting to be a long time. He'll win. He will win. He's got
another one coming. I'm not worried about him anymore.
No, he'll win.
I don't think. I get that the percentage of success is extremely low, but I don't think McDowell did anything wrong. He did what he had to do.
You gotta, yeah.
He's not gonna win the race if he doesn't make the block. He's got to try to make the block. It was a big ask though to come from the top of the track to the bottom of the track. I mean, he didn't just block. He pulled a Joey Logano style block from the far right lane to the far left lane. And honestly, I don't even know that they made contact. I think he just lost it.
And I feel like too, NASCAR, like other sports, there's fouls and penalties, right?
Yeah.
You drive the lane in basketball, you get hacked, right? That's a foul. NASCAR is more of a self-policing sport where I feel like the second block there, I feel like that's a foul, but foul, but the penalty is you're ending up in the fence.
The problem is that everybody else pays the price behind you as well. They get penalized, including, Corey LaJoie, who becomes the latest NASCAR driver to flip at Talladega.
Yeah, and Chastain hit the wall really hard. I think that was that did not get well. A lot of Fox did.
I didn't see it, James, because I had to wait till social media posted the onboard cameras to see the actual wreck.
Yeah, we missed a lot of things over the course of that race.
Yeah, I have a tweet in the show notes that has a play-by-play of the timestamps from the crash to. It was 6 minutes and 42 seconds after the wreck that Fox finally told us that Corey LaJoie was the one who flipped in the wreck.
Yeah, and that was actually faster than anything they said about Eric Jones.
Right, yeah.
In the broadcast.
Yeah.
Who was actually in pain.
Yeah.
And
dude, that audio clip is brutal.
It's terrible. I retweeted it this afternoon. It's bad.
That's worse than Almirola when he got hurt at Kansas.
And Almirola actually broke his back, and from everything we understand, Eric Jones is actually going to be okay.
Right.
Should be fine, but man, oh man, dude. That was something else.
Yeah, I'm glad I heard that audio after I knew he'd been released, because if I'd heard it before, man, I'd have been.
He sounded bad. It didn't sound
really
like Eric Jones.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean that was worse than Carson Hocevar screaming for somebody to get to the car. I mean that was ugly.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of time on Fox, but they're just trash.
It was bad. This was bad.
Absolute trash. So, but I don't want to spend a ton of time on Fox, but let me do this real quick. I didn't go back to watch the first Xfinity race stage break, so I don't have the numbers on that. But Xfinity race stage 2, they went to commercial with 8 laps to go in stage 2. They came back with 4 laps to go on the stage. In the Cup race on Sunday, stage 1, they went side by side with 9 laps to go. At least they went side by side, and they kept us in the broadcast. They went full screen though at the end of stage 2, full screen commercial with 7 to go. Came back with 4 to go in the stage. I thought stage breaks were created so we could have commercials during stage breaks and not have to have them during the green flag. But now we're doing them within 10 laps of the stage break. This is just freaking. I mean, that's honestly, especially with the way the fuel mileage is right now and what they're doing with the fuel saving. That's the only part of the race that you even care about is the last 10 laps of a stage.
Yep.
Like, just freaking infuriating.
Yeah, it's not great. I know they're trying to stuff in as many as they can. Especially when they're on Big Fox and not FS1.
It's just unacceptable anymore. It just is unacceptable. It's not the number of commercials, it's the choice of when to run them. And it is just
it's a lack of balance.
The constant missing of things, the constant poor direction. I would love to see the numbers on their number of cameras, because I think they've reduced their camera presence at the track. I don't think they've got the cameras they used to have. I don't know, man. They're just bad.
It's a what's the when a college coach gets fired for something, what do they always say? Like, lack of institutional control,
right?
Is like a saying. Like, I feel like Fox has like lost their grip on the steering wheel. They just don't have control.
The only bright spots we got is that I think Mike Joy's back on it this year, and Kevin Harvick holds the booth together. I wanted to strangle Clint Boyer this weekend. He was so freaking annoying. I don't know why, but he just annoyed me. It's like, shut up, quit talking.
Yeah, we need to dial it back sometimes with Clint. But he's definitely got that Tony Romo thing where he gets
send him out drinking the night before, because he was hungover the weekend before and he was good.
He might need to.
He must not have been out on the boulevard Saturday night or something.
Well, I didn't see him. I saw a couple of videos from the boulevard. I shared a picture of one.
We won't share those ones on the podcast.
No, we're not going to share. No, there won't be any retweeting. I don't want those in my algorithm. However, I didn't see Clint at those.
I mean, I bookmarked them, so but.
Yeah.
Hey man, when I was
NSFW, right?
When I was 16 years old going to NASCAR at MIS. I'll tell you what, I got an education in the back of the campground at MIS.
Oh, man.
And it was very similar to that.
I always
anatomy lessons, many anatomy lessons for a 16-year-old.
I always love when non-NASCAR fans tweet at me or message me about things like that that go viral. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what.
Who look like that or on the NASCAR infield? Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are.
They're not there to watch the racing either.
No. Absolutely not.
I'll tell you what. The most entertaining things that ever happened in MIS when we camped at the track was when it rained, because the campground would get muddy and it was entertaining.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Race would be delayed or canceled, and I remember people taking garbage barrels and cutting them in half and using them as sleds, getting pulled behind trucks through the mud.
Well, this is my checkered flag for the day. I'll just say it right now.
All right.
Talladega always tweets out the thread of Left Behind at Talladega Infield.
I haven't found it yet. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, I retweeted it.
Oh,
it's
good.
out there.
Good.
It's man, oh man, just the funniest stuff. There's beds next to Porta Johns and it's. Oh yeah, I mean, full couches and set. It's nuts. I mean, it's just nuts.
There are no I always prefer when I go to cover a race. I don't sit in the media center. I don't sit on pit road. I like to sit in the tower in the press box because I want to see the track. I want to see the race.
Yeah.
But I really one day hope to experience the boulevard just once.
I mean, we're gonna be at the point where we might age out.
Yeah, we probably already have. I don't know. Bob's down there though, so.
Bob is.
I'm not going to participate. I just want to witness it.
You just want to people watch?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't drink, so I just watch the idiots. That's so I'm. You don't age out of that,
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I love when this is one of my favorite things that we do sometimes. We just kind of keep on. We just go off different way. I mean, it's at Talladega, man. It's just entertaining all the way around. There's so many things to talk about.
Talladega is the best track on the circuit.
I love it. I love it, man. The party, everything. Yeah. It's all good.
The reputation. It's just the mystique about it, the danger, the excitement. The whole thing is it's just incredible. This is the epitome of NASCAR is Talladega. That's why I get excited about it every year.
It is now. Yeah. If you want to experience everything, that's it. This is it. Yep. This is the one. It doesn't have the prestige of the Daytona 500, but it's got its own making. That's for sure.
Yep. You got in the notes, you touched on it a little bit already, but the Toyotas with the big strategy play during the race, blow it and wreck. And Eric Jones ends up bad wreck. But it still works out because Tyler Reddick ends up in the right position to win the race.
Tyler Reddick with Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs, right? They were, after the caution, they were lined up out front. They didn't have to pit, and Reddick rode that all the way home. Yeah, took out Denny Hamlin too, who probably would have been a contender, even though he was spinning in puddles. And
can I just say, I know it's not massively different from past schemes and whatnot, but I really like that FedEx scheme on the next gen car.
Yeah, the 11 car looks good. No, you're right. No, I agree.
They have done a good job with the sponsors and the number placement and all that. That's a team that has worked with what they have available and made it look good.
Yeah, that car has a good. That car has good balance. Like
it almost reminds me of like an IROC car, more so than a Cup car, but still has that Cup car feel. I don't know. It's one of my favorite schemes out there on the track. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Tyler Reddick gets the win kind of as a result of that. James, this is why I don't want to dwell real heavily like a lot of the other podcasts have on the fuel mileage racing, because I don't think it's going to last. I think that Toyota was trying to break it, and I think they proved a little bit that it works to break it. And all you need is for this scenario to work instead of everybody wreck each other trying to do it. And that immediately will eliminate that strategy. Yeah. So I think one more of these races with some fuel mileage, and I think everybody's going to go, wait a minute, this is stupid.
Yeah. Didn't the Fords say they wanted to press the Chevys?
Yeah.
I thought the Fords had come to an agreement like, screw this, we are going to run the Chevys out of gas.
Yeah.
Is what my understanding was, like they were going to actually race hard. The difference in speed is pretty astonishing though when you really look at it.
Well, they're driving half throttle. They talked about it on DVC. They're literally half throttle when they're in fuel saving mode. And Fox this is the difference between Fox and NBC, is NBC acknowledged it last year and they were explaining what was happening, and Fox kind of tried to ignore it and make it seem like they were still racing. But the thing is like, if you look back at past Talladega races, there's not many that we've raced all the way through, and not especially ones that aren't threatened by weather. Usually there's a weather threat that causes everybody to race crazy throughout the entire race, and maybe they get the whole 500 miles in, and it's 500 miles of craziness. But generally, there is a period in all of these races where they ride, because it's a 500-mile race. And I would rather they ride in a 3-ride pack like this than ride single file like they did in the Xfinity race the day before.
Right.
Because at least this looks cool, and if somebody does have a mistake, if somebody does cut a tire, you're taking out half the field, so there's still a risk to it. Whereas in the single file stuff, somebody spins, they spin out of the line, and that's it, So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know
exactly,
and I get that Freddie Kraft and TJ Majors want to sit there and say you can't pass, you can't BS, because BJ McLeod made it through the field. I mean, if BJ McLeod can get through the field, I get it. Again, they're running fuel mileage, but these guys can make moves. They can get through the field when they need to, and they can all freaking make moves at the end of the race. So you can't tell me that they can make moves at the end of the race, but they can't do it in the middle of the race. It is a mindset right now. It is not something that I think needs to be fixed, unlike the short tracks and the road courses.
Yeah, it's almost like when they and it does appear that it can get difficult when the cars are ramped up like that.
Yeah.
To go, but I did see.
I don't know. They had runs at the end. If they wouldn't have,
Yeah,
there
that
wouldn't
was
have
what
been
I
a
was
wreck.
just gonna say. If they would just organize themselves,
Right.
that top line could have got going. They just never, like, they had a run going, and I can't remember who the last guy to jump out of line was. I think it was Ty Gibbs. He jumped up to that third line, and he just jumped up at the wrong time and killed the momentum.
Yeah.
It's almost like that third line. If they get it going sooner and organize themselves without, not waiting until the last 8 to 10 laps, I think they can figure something out. So,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you know what I would really like to see, James? I would really like to see them take probably the spring race, and they've never done it. Try a 400 miler at Talladega and see what happens. See what changes. See if it changes the race.
Yeah. Fix the adjust the stages around the. People are going to freak out if you cut Talladega, though.
This race was 3 hours and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
With hardly any cautions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long race. It doesn't need to be that long.
No, you're going to wreck everything anyways.
Does anybody go to Daytona during the summer race and go, man, I really miss those 100 miles that we don't run that we don't run now that we run in February?
Yeah, I know.
You never do. For years, I didn't even realize it was a different length than the 500, except for the name of the race.
Right. Oh yeah. Yep.
So I would love to try it just to see what happens. I would advocate to make it 300 miles and really make it interesting, but I'm not saying that. Let's just take 100 miles off of it. Keep the fall race as a 500 miler, or keep one of them as a 500 miler, one of them as a 400 miler, and see if it changes things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to it, but people are going to freak out.
Yeah, people will lose their minds. But hey, maybe they're going to get practice back next year, so maybe that's a good compromise.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know where we were going to go on the fuel thing because it doesn't bother me as much either. So
yeah, I'm not losing my mind over it. I'd rather see them race hard, but they just never have.
Yeah, I know.
You want them to race hard, then shorten the race. That's the only way you're going to do it. Otherwise, 100. What do they run? 188 laps.
Yeah, and I feel like the end of the race played out the way it typically plays out. Except for the tandem days, and maybe it is harder to pass when they're at full, when they're at full song like that. But I mean, you have like you said, you had 3 hours to get yourself in position.
Right.
It's a whole race, man. Get yourself in position.
And
guys who are good at these tracks were up front. Brad was there. McDowell was there. Stenhouse was there. Those guys are. They're solid at these places. So
yeah. The guys who are good still end up at the front. So that shows you that it's still the skills still there.
And the Toyotas would have been there, all of them, Denny Hamlin included, if they wouldn't have hit the bump or whatever heading into turn 3 and wadded them up.
Right.
So.
I'm not losing my mind over it. I will say that Jeff Gluck has a good comment on the podcast this week on Teardown that the people that are begging for tandem racing back should shut the hell up. And I mean, he doesn't say that, but he basically says that. And I 1,000% agree with that. Although I will say I didn't think tandem racing was that bad either. I was not as crazy about tandem racing, like as against it. The only thing I didn't like about tandem racing is that I missed the pack racing, but it wasn't because tandem racing was bad to me. But if I had to choose between this and tandem racing, I would choose this 1,000,000 times over tandem racing.
Oh yeah. And tandem racing, I think people forget that. I think the reason people hated tandem racing so much is that somebody had to give up the win, like knowingly you're not going to win this race. Right. You have to be the pusher, and I think that drove people crazy. Yeah, I do find the fact that Jeff complains about the opinions of NASCAR fans on his podcast when he is 75 to 80% of the problem with was that a good race poll? Oh, I find that entertaining. Hot take.
Sorry, like Jeff. That. Sorry, Jeff.
I like that. I like that. That was good. I don't disagree.
But he can't stop doing the poll at this point because everybody loves the poll.
I hate that damn thing.
I know. I hate that
damn thing.
I do too because it's not. It's not.
I hate the dis.
It's not an accurate representation. When I looked today, it was 53%. This was not a 50. This race was not worse than Texas.
And I just hate I just hate the conversation around the good race.
Right.
I just like, can you imagine after every hockey game or basketball or football game, like, can you imagine after the Lions and the 49ers NFC Championship game, if we all stopped and said, was that a good game?
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, it sucked for Lions fans, but it was a good game.
I just,
you know what I mean?
when I'm watching a race, it's better than not watching a race. So I don't understand how you could ever vote no.
Yeah.
Although I have voted no before, but I don't understand. It really makes no sense because it's a race, so it was good.
Yep.
But
races are good. Talladega's good. I don't care.
If it had a scale system, it would be better.
Yeah.
Like, what do you rate this race? A 1 or a 10? You know, somewhere.
10.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we got our usual mix of drivers that you don't necessarily expect at the front of the field in one of these races. We talked about the cream rising to the top. That, of course, happens, but you also get that mix of drivers that are good here, good at these types of tracks that you may not expect. Noah Gragson with a third-place finish.
He was good, man.
Yeah,
he was really good late, too.
And keep in mind, too, that we did wreck a bunch of cars at the end, so there are some guys up here with the finishing order that probably weren't there.
Yeah, poor Michael McDowell didn't get to even finish the race.
Yeah,
And
what a 21st.
He led 36 laps.
Or 31st. 31st for Michael
most.
McDowell.
Yep, he led the most laps on the day. Austin Dillon actually had a pretty good day. He didn't get there.
Yeah.
Um,
Alex Bowman with a 5th place finish quietly.
Kyle Busch was up there.
How about Anthony Alfredo in the Beard Motorsports car?
Yep. The Sauce.
Yeah.
Sauce was up there.
The team from Michigan, as Mike Joy pointed out during the broadcast.
Darn right. They're from Michigan. They're right by us, man.
Yeah.
They're, what, 45 minutes away from us?
Yeah.
So,
Todd Gilliland was strong, too. Yeah, SVG did good.
Yep. Kyle Busch had a great race, I thought, and then got out and screamed about how he hates the race car.
His tweet was good. I enjoyed his tweet.
Kyle, we've been down this road over a decade and a half ago.
Right.
Only you won when you said it back then. So.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Josh Berry, Karsten Hocevar, 16th, 17th, Corey LaJoie, 18th. That was a nice little clump of cars, literally.
I know we do this enough.
Yeah.
Can we give Kyle Larson a little bit of flowers for having that crazy penalty?
Yeah.
And then having to do the drive-through, finishing the first stage a lap down, almost won the freaking second stage.
Yeah.
And then finally relented and let Talladega crash him out on the last lap.
Well,
what an up and down day for Kyle Larson, man.
He proved at the end of stage 2 that he's not the greatest super speedway racer because he made a really bad block that just screwed him over.
And he was so good when he was a lap down. He was better when he was a lap down than he was when he was on the lead lap.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first stage on these super speedways really is meaningless.
I mean, technically, he almost won the first stage too, because not technically because he was a lap down,
he was
but
there. He was trying to get his lap
almost
back.
led to the line.
I know. He had a good day. It was crazy. Yep.
At least he didn't have a car drive through a side door this time, so that was good.
Do you understand his penalty? Because I am still waiting for some clarification.
I just know that we're probably going to get show and tell on his roof rails over the next couple of weeks.
Well, they did something. They touched something they weren't supposed to touch.
Yeah.
From what I saw. So
yeah,
that's about it, though.
I didn't gather a whole lot. Just that it went from he wasn't allowed to qualify to suddenly then they had to do a pass through too. I'm guessing there'll probably be more yet. We'll see.
What do you think they did? What could it possibly be? They were pushing the car to the grid.
I don't know.
Invisible, were they trying to stick tape on it? I'm trying to figure out, what could they have done pushing the car from tech to pit road?
I don't know.
But NASCAR saw them sneaky do something that they didn't like.
I mean, it's not metal, so you're not bending something.
Yeah, what could they have? I'm just baffled by what could they have possibly done. But I guess we'll find out. We're gonna learn all about it. NASCAR won't.
Oh yeah, we'll get the show and tell for sure. So,
but as of this recording, we don't know. But I am still at this point very curious as to what's going on.
Yeah. Let's see. 6th victory in 156 Cup Series races for Tyler Reddick. Josh Berry, highest finishing rookie, with his rear tires up in the air, on top of Corey LaJoie. Kyle Larson's your points leader, 15 points over Martin Truex Jr. right now as we head out of Dega.
Fair enough.
The Xfinity Series was in action on Saturday. They tried to, they tried to show the ARCA cars up, ARCA teams up, because the ARCA race was pretty clean. Extremely clean.
Completely clean.
Yeah.
It was completely clean.
Yeah, completely clean. But the Xfinity guys tore some stuff up. But we get our first time winner.
Jesse Love
Gets the win.
He did it.
Pissed off Sheldon Creed because he won in that car that Sheldon couldn't win in. Sheldon still hasn't won.
I was gonna say the 2 car found its way to victory lane without Sheldon Creed. Oh my God.
Jesse Love, man, he's
good.
Yeah, he's gonna be good. He was
I
on
think
DB-
Richard Childress is probably happy with that whole arrangement at this point.
Well, he's on DBC this week, and there's a little bit of discussion. I didn't listen to the whole podcast, but I listened to the beginning, and a little bit of discussion on how he ended up where he was. Basically, he said that he kept falling down the pecking order at Toyota and decided to go knock on the door at RCR and see what was available, and happened pretty quick after that. Within a week of meeting, he was signed. So
ever since Las Vegas, he has not finished worse than 9th.
Yeah.
This season, he is 4th in points. His average finish on the season is a 9th. So he is, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I look at the year he was born, 2005,
I don't even want to.
and I was a senior in high school. That makes me.
I was graduating college.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Sometimes these young, when we talk about the Xfinity Series, we see these young bucks. I'm just like, oh my God. Jesus. Anyway, yeah, Jesse Love's good. He's young. He's good. He's fast.
Yeah. We definitely tore up some cars in this one. I think probably the one I wanted to point out the most, Justin Allgaier takes a massive hit on the inside. Basically hit head on.
Yes,
Talladega is one of the last tracks left that has those walls that jut out. And I get that there's a safer barrier on them. Man, I just wish they would fix those things. You should not be able to, at a super speedway, or any track for that matter, but certainly at a super speedway, you should not be able to drive straight into a wall like that.
Yeah.
And we've seen
we had
so
big
many
hits
cars
this
hit.
weekend. Yeah. I thought of you when I saw that, because I'm like, man, Eric and I are going to be talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I know, man, we still have those angles. They're always out there.
Yeah, apparently they're gonna be there till somebody gets hurt.
Well, and I'll never forget. I will never forget. As long as I live, I will never forget the fact when we covered Michigan together a few years ago, and you were taking photos down there, and you think there's no cars that are gonna hit down there,
right?
And I'm watching the race, and Austin Dillon hit. Was it Austin Dillon? Was
No,
it the Cup race?
It was a truck race. I can't remember.
It was the trucks race. That's right.
I can't remember who it was. And I had just moved, so I wasn't there when he hit.
I know, but I remember texting you immediately, like, hey, man, you were right there.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I'm good. I moved. I'm like, oh, God. Because it was such a weird crash. And still, like, you think how wide Talladega is.
Yeah.
And still, these cars will find their way.
Well, the thing to keep in mind, too, we're based here in Michigan, so I would assume that probably a good chunk of our listeners have been to Michigan, but may not have been to Talladega, because Talladega is a hike to get to from here. You see Talladega on TV and you go, man, that's a really wide racetrack. And you think about how wide it is. But I got to visit Talladega last year, and it's not as wide. So we're spoiled here in Michigan because Michigan is a wide racetrack. The only track that was wider than Michigan, I think, was California. And Michigan's wider, if not as wide as Talladega. So when you look at Talladega's banking, it doesn't look as wide as it seems on TV. It really is not that wide. There's room to fit 4 cars side by side, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been to Daytona.
Yeah,
man.
Daytona's really skinny.
And it's narrow.
Yeah.
It's really narrow, and it's surprising.
Yeah. Atlanta's really narrow, but Daytona is just as narrow as Atlanta. Everybody made such a big deal about Atlanta, but Daytona and Atlanta are the same width. So like I said, we're spoiled here in Michigan because Michigan's a really wide racetrack, and most of them aren't that wide. So,
right.
But yeah, I wanted to point out Haley Deegan was running strong in this one. She got caught up in one of the wrecks. Ended up still in 12th though, but nice to see her finally. I mean, it took half the field wrecking out for her to be up there, but at least she was up there.
And her and Matt DiBenedetto were really good.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. We talked about Anthony Alfredo in the Cup race. He gets a third place finish in this one. Leland Honeyman in the 42 car finishes fourth. Brennan Poole almost won this race, finishes fifth.
Yep.
Caesar Baccarella in seventh.
Yeah, there's really good names. There's really good names in the top of the list.
Mason Massey got 11th. I mean, just always interesting in Talladega with the Xfinity series.
Yeah, I know. There's always good names, man.
So Jesse Love gets himself a win. It is his first win in 9 Xfinity Series races. So pretty good percentage.
Short career, doing well. Yep.
Not quite as good of a percentage as what Ty Gibbs started out with in the Xfinity Series, but pretty good.
Pretty good. Yep. Especially with that Richard Childress car, he's doing just fine.
Yeah. Yep.
You think about his top level experience too. It's not much.
No.
He has 3 starts in the Truck Series, 9 in Xfinity, and that's it. He's been in the ARCA Series, but
yeah.
I mean that's
ARCA does only so much to prepare you, and that's what he talked about on the broadcast on DBC today. Is that with ARCA you can make mistakes and recover from them and still win, but you make one mistake in the Xfinity Series and you're just digging out, and you make one of those mistakes in the third stage and you're out. You're not going to win.
And he was dominant in the ARCA Series, but he was in that Venturini car. I mean, there's like you were saying, there's a lot of room to be dominant in one of those, Venturini. I mean, that's the team in ARCA. So
yeah,
but yeah, really good in ARCA. But yeah, limited big level experience. He's already got a win, so that's pretty good. Pretty good start.
Probably should mention Austin Hill, who led 41 laps of this race, and probably
he was there too.
I mean, he was the guy to beat, and then ends up wrecking. But yeah, he was victim of, wasn't it Kligerman that got him?
Yeah.
I mean, Kligerman's going to hit anything. There's nobody there. No one. Kligerman's less safe to be in front of than Brad Keselowski at a super speedway.
yeah.
Or anywhere. I mean, Kligerman's going to clean you out no matter where he's at.
Yeah, Parker doesn't care. He still rallied to get back up to 14.
Yeah. That's a good finish considering he was wrecked.
Well, and that's probably his worst finish of the season, if I had to guess.
Right.
Off the top of my head.
Funny that he can't get the win at Talladega. He does so well at all the super speedway tracks, but Talladega he's snake betting that.
No, I forgot he wrecked out at Martinsville too. So but he's a single digit finisher for the most part.
Yeah.
And he almost got it. He almost got back to it, but
yeah.
He's had a good run, but a couple of rough weeks there.
Yep. Let's see. My notes way at the bottom of the list here today. Jesse Love is also the highest finishing rookie in this race with his first place finish.
Of course. Yeah.
Chandler Smith, your points leader, 14 points over Cole Custer in the Xfinity Series.
He had a bad day too, that poor guy.
Yeah, he was in a wreck as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think everybody was.
Yeah, I know, pretty much.
Yep.
So, there you go. Talladega in the rearview mirror.
See you in the fall, Dega.
Yeah. Before we fully leave Talladega, though, let's talk about scoring pylons. James, you want to talk about scoring pylons?
Oh, Jesus.
Is this a big deal?
Sure, we can talk about it.
Is it a big deal? Do you care? Are you upset that they are taking your scoring pylons away at the racetrack?
Why can't we update the scoring pylons? Why do we have to rip them down?
They're expensive.
And I listened to Jeff and Jordan.
$5 million to replace a scoring pylon. You know what I would rather they spend $5 million on at the track? Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Phone service. Yeah. Bring in a couple towers. I don't know about you, James, but I'm a phone person. Like even when I go to the short track now, most of the short tracks have scoring online, and I bring my phone because when you go to the short track, you only get in the top 5 positions if you're lucky on the scoreboard anyway. Berlin has 10, but then half the times the drivers have like letters or 3-digit numbers, and so they don't show up on the scoreboard right anyway. So I'm always using my phone for scoring, so I don't have a problem doing that at the NASCAR track.
Can we put the cell tower on top of the pylon?
Maybe. I mean, this just doesn't bother me that much, but again, I mean, the last, 8 years or so, 6 years, I haven't watched a race hardly that I've sat in the stands at. So watched one race from the stands and the rest have been from the press box. So I guess I'm a little spoiled because I usually have a laptop in front of me, but I don't know. if you want to complain about something, sure, but I'd rather they put video screens up. And I mean, we got Michigan, and they got a scoring pylon in the center of the track with video screens on it that are like the size of a thumbnail if you look at it. Like, I would rather. MIS doesn't have video screens for the grandstand crowd. There's one way down in turn 4, and there's one way down in turn 1. So if they put in a big screen like they have at Talladega or something like Big Hoss or something at Michigan, I'd take that any day over a scoring pylon.
See, I like the pylon at Michigan. It's big and it's full of information.
Well, have you been there since they changed it to where it's not a video screen anymore? Now it's just a static pylon.
Oh no! Did they change? They took this. They took the LED out of it.
Yeah, it's just a score. It's just it just has the positions now. It's 1 through. I think it's like 1 through 20, and then they have like rotating the bottom 2 numbers rotate through the rest of the field, and then there's a TV screen on the bottom of it, but it's so small that unless you're standing right underneath it, you can't even tell it it's a TV screen. Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it. It's not what it used to be. The old one was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the one that's circulating from North Wilkesboro. That's a beaut.
That one's cool.
Indianapolis. Like if you're gonna do it right.
That's Indy's is just a giant video screen, is all it is, and it's perfect.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
I guess people didn't really care at Texas, but then when it became a thing, it's like uh-oh.
Well, SMI's tracks have historically had one in turn 4 and one in turn 1, those big tall ones that show the entire field. I thought it was funny. I think you retweeted it. The fact that the one track that still has a scoring pylon is the one that only has the front stretch left, and that's Auto Club.
Yeah, I sent that to you. Yeah,
the track's gone, but the scoring pylon's still there. So
yeah, the pylon's. Why can't we take that one and take it to Talladega? Just move it over.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
really
don't get me wrong. More information
Yeah.
is better, but this just doesn't move the needle for me. I don't care.
People were mad.
I was surprised people were bent out of shape about it. Can't the drivers get the freaking running order on their dash now? Why the hell do they need a scoreboard?
I messaged you and I'm like, I didn't have scoring pylons being on my bingo card for the season. Like, I didn't think that was going to be a thing. But man, oh man, people get
it's only outraged. A thing because it's 2 weeks in a row that there was one missing.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're becoming obsolete. Listen, you can't get parts for them anymore, so they're gonna have to tear them down and replace them or find something else. But $5 million, I can think of a lot of things that $5 million will buy you at a racetrack versus a scoring pylon. Well,
Dover Motor Speedway has already tweeted out they've fired up their pylon for the week. So
good deal. Good deal.
So the pylon's turned on, ready to go.
Man, I never heard people complain about scoreboards coming down. They've been taking scoreboards down for years.
I never heard anybody ever compliment the pylon. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess NASCAR found out. NASCAR
fans are gonna bitch about something.
Oh yeah, NASCAR. Whenever NASCAR shows its cheapness, boy do fans pounce. Holy cow! It never fails, man. Oh jeez.
It reminds me almost of when they started removing seats at these tracks, and they started removing backstretch grandstands at Daytona and Talladega and all these tracks. And NASCAR tried to play it up that, well, we have so many events now that are centered around the front straightaway that we just want to make sure everybody's where the action is. It's like, BS. You guys are taking seats out to reduce attendance, and you're playing it up as a positive. Like, come on. But anyway.
Yep. I know. I know.
Whatever. Like I said, scoring pylon or scoring pylon. I'm just here to watch the race.
I tell you what, NASCAR stopped allowing a certain something at every racetrack, and do you remember how that discourse went?
Yeah, right.
You don't even have to. I'm not even going to say what it was.
Yeah, yeah. Were any flying over the track this weekend at Talladega? I didn't hear about it. So
yeah, NASCAR fans threw a big old stink about that too.
Yeah,
and that seemed to die a proper death.
Yep.
So.
Good.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's talk Kroger, James. You can talk about this one. You pulled it out.
Well, I'll keep it simple. Looks like Kroger is moving possibly to Joe Gibbs and leaving the 47 and JTG.
Oh, I'm so glad you screwed that up because I screwed up every time.
Yeah, I didn't even get to the Doherty part. I got to the JT and I blew it. But yeah, so there's just a rumbling and that's a big loss for that 47 team. That's
big
the number
loss for
one
the 47
sponsor.
Team.
Yeah, especially when it's a one-car team. But the interesting part about this is owner Tad Geschecter he has this agency, Brand Activation Maximizer, and back in the Kyle Busch days of when Kyle Busch was trying to find a sponsor with Joe Gibbs Racing, Tad's group was the one trying to keep Kyle Busch at Joe Gibbs Racing, and now seems like their sponsorship is going to be heading over there. So I don't know if this is a good long-term thing for the 47. Is that charter going to be up for grabs? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. It's a little bit more, there's a little bit more, ooh, look at this, than it is with a typical sponsorship announcement. There's some puzzle pieces being shifted around here.
Yeah, I didn't even
keep an eye on it.
I didn't even think about the possibility that JTG might be. I mean, obviously, we're throwing this rumor out. I don't know if there's any rumor out there yet of this happening.
We're recklessly speculating.
But obviously, they've already cut down to one team, and that team won the Daytona 500 last year and hasn't been relevant since.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking about the relevancy of Stuart Haas, but they run better than JTG most weekends. So
we've seen better one-car teams just disappear off the map.
Yeah.
Furniture Row.
Especially losing a sponsor.
Yeah.
So
and this is just something like so you're losing a big sponsor. Your owner has an alliance kind of with Gibbs.
Right.
Does Gibbs really need another big sponsor? Like, what's going on with Gibbs? Like, that's interesting. Well,
and that's the thing. Like, this is a huge sponsor. This is like M&M's leaving. I mean, Kroger's not necessarily on the car every week. They rotate their brands through it, but still, it's essentially one sponsor.
Yep.
It just looks different every weekend. So, that's a huge loss. Got to be a huge loss for that team.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that all plays out.
You're not going to fill a season with another sponsor. You got to fill a season now with probably 20 to 30 sponsors.
Yeah, and the fact that they've been on that car for a long time. You know what it reminds me of, Eric, is remember the 13 car for a long time?
Yep.
Was around, and it had Geico on the car. And once Geico was out, that team was just completely kaput. And that was like a back marker team for the
NASCAR took Geico, and that was the end.
NASCAR did take Geico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like NASCAR took what's the other one? Well, Winston's the biggest example, right? Right. Way back in the day. That's like before our time.
I figured when Monster came on with NASCAR, they were going to cut the other teams, but they didn't. They stuck with the other teams.
Monster stuck around. Monster's got cars all over the place.
Monster's really impressed me because I don't know. I'm impressed with how much Monster stayed in the sport.
Monster and Bass Pro, very similar.
Yeah.
To each other.
Yep.
Very similar. Like Bass Pro likes to sprinkle their sponsorship across many cars, and so does Monster. Yep. Overstock. They were on the Haas cars this weekend with the 10 and the 14, or the 4 and the 10, with similar paint schemes. I thought that was interesting. And when they were both leading at one point, I went, "Oh, well, that's got to be hard for the spotters."
Yeah, I'm sure
obviously,
the spotters love it.
But the sponsorship return there for having two cars leading at Talladega is probably pretty cool. So
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's F1, not to compare NASCAR to F1, but I mean, obviously F1 runs two identical cars for each team.
Right.
I wonder if we might see more of that now. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to think about.
There you go.
That's about it. That's about it on the Kroger sponsorship. I threw it in the notes because I'm like, that's kind of interesting. So
yeah, it's interesting. We don't talk about a lot of sponsorship stuff, but that one's got pretty big implications. So
yeah,
it's worth the discussion. So. And there you go. That's the news for a Monday. News has been light lately, especially on Mondays.
Yes, sir.
So,
yep.
But there you go. NASCAR heads to Dover this weekend. It is the Cup Series in action on Sunday with the Wurth 400, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. NASCAR Xfinity Series has the A-Game 200 and Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Truck Series still off till we go back to Kansas. I get first pick this weekend, James, for Dover. So I'm gonna give you my reasoning here. So I am not going with my first pick because it doesn't matter anyway, and I don't want to go the easy route. So, however, I'm gonna pick somebody who has the exact same stats as my first pick. So both of these drivers have 3 top 5 finishes, 3 top 10s in the last 4 races at Dover. My driver has a win versus my main pick, who doesn't. I'm going Alex Bowman as my pick this weekend. Alex has won here, and he only ran 3 races here, and all 3 of those races he finished in the top 5. So over the last 4. So
I like that.
Alex Bowman's my pick over William Byron, for the record, who's probably who you're going to pick.
Yeah, Bowman the showman.
Yeah.
No, actually, I won't pick Byron.
Okay.
And I won't pick Larson.
Okay.
Larson's been good here historically.
Larson has been good here, except unable to finish until recently. He's only got one win here in this car, I think, right?
Yeah, yep. And he was really good with the old car
Yeah.
here. He was before he went to Hendrick. I'm going to take a guy who you're going to laugh, but since the next gen car came into Dover, he's got 2 starts. He's got 2 top 5s. He does not have a win, but he's led almost the most laps, second in laps led to William Byron, and has an average finish of 2.5. I'm going to take Ross Chastain.
Nice.
I will take, I'll take the guy who's been running up front. Now they need it. They need it. That team, I know they're in the top 10 in points and they're doing okay, but that Trackhouse team does need a little kick in the pants. Well, I feel like
Alex Bowman would like to remind everybody he's still at Hendrick Motorsports too. So
he'll be good. Yeah, I think Bowman's going to be solid here. Ricky Stenhouse is good here. There's a couple of guys like I'm looking at the just simply next gen stats.
Yeah.
Eric Jones is good here. Bubba has been good here. Hamlin's always on the list. Chris Bell always on the list. Chase Elliott too. So
Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, both top 10s as far as good finishes here.
Yep, Chris Buescher 2 top 10s. Ryan Blaney, really good here as well. So yeah, just it's kind of your typical guys, but there's some guys to keep an eye on. Ty Gibbs is always interesting to me because this will be his. He's making his return. He hasn't had many starts here, so he's usually like when Ty Gibbs goes to a place a second time. You see an uptick, but it's been it's been a year, so I'm curious to see how he does.
And we're watching Jimmy this weekend. We're on Jimmy Watch.
Jimmers will Jimmer Watch. I don't expect a lot.
No, but I mean this is the best test to see how he is in this car.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, yep. Let's see how he does. I'd love to see him get in the 20. If he can get in the 20s.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's a
good day. I mean, that's a good day for that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you got to be realistic with the expectations. Jimmy doesn't have the experience, not to mention the team is not like amazing. So I think that would be a good finish for them.
Yep.
How'd fantasy go this week, James? We talked about it already a little bit here.
I think I had the worst scoring week of all time. I didn't hit 50.
Yeah, that was terrible.
49 points. The winner had 170, so not a great week for anybody, but 49 points, Eric. Holy crap.
So bad.
Smoking Grill Racing gets the win. Jeff Gordon for GOAT second. Mickey Elliott third. Watermelon James beats me again. We got that going on. And then, Eric, you were 11th.
Yeah. I was better than that. I was 4th at one point, and then,
I have tumbled now to 12th in the standings. Boy, this might not be my year. I am on the struggle bus. But first place, Cole Custer doing Cole Custer's last stand and Team Justin like neck and neck. Then Mickey Elliott third. Still really close. Like Smoking Grills right there, 3-time champs right there. They're all pretty bunched up. Eric, you're not that far out of it. You're 6th. A few points ahead of our defending champion Barron Speedway. So there is that. I tumbled. Holy cow. I need a good week. Like, big time.
Yeah.
I honest to God, as much as I hate fantasy, I could not believe how bad that went for me. Like the one race you just try to survive, and I didn't.
I think that is a record for somebody who actually made picks. It has to be.
Yeah. It's almost like I didn't pick anybody. Yeah. My lineup, just for anybody who listens who's on our fantasy league, nobody cares about fantasy talking about your own team, but my, Bubba Wallace, 1 point. Michael McDowell, 6 points. Eric Jones, 2 points. And then I had Kyle Busch, 16 points, and I missed every single one of the bonus picks. I lost every single one. It's like I didn't show up.
What a mess. You would have probably been better off just leaving your picks in from the week before.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
see, my strategy, I'll give you what my strategy was for Talladega this time. Not that it was a winning strategy because I finished 11th, but my strategy was to pick all the drivers that were likely but still semi long shots. So I didn't use any starts on anybody that I'm going to start pretty much any other time. I left the Kyle Larsons off. I left the, well, obviously Kyle Larson sucks here.
Oh yeah,
but I left
those
William
guys
Byron off. I didn't pick any of those guys that I would use somewhere else. I mean, probably the closest was Brad, because he had to pick Brad as super speedway, and that one worked out for me, I guess. That wasn't a win, but it was close.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I didn't go like all in on like, because I didn't have Bubba, I didn't have Michael McDowell, but I can't remember who all I had, but anyway. I don't know why I'm bragging about my strategy. I sucked too, so.
I could have picked all 4 of the bonus picks correctly, and I would have went from 19th to 17th. That is how bad.
That's too funny.
It was, and I am glad that is over. Holy cow. Now, my other league I'm in, I did fantastic, but it's not the same format.
That's funny.
Boy, oh boy. Whew. Boy, am I glad that's over. Wow.
All right. You already gave your checker flag, right? Did you?
I gave my checker flag, so that's up. Yeah. Yep, you're up.
I'm going to give my checkered flag to the Arca Menard series. Going into Talladega, it's always a scary race. Always worried about what's going to happen. We had one caution on Saturday in the Arca Menard series race, and that was the competition caution, and that was it. We didn't tear up any cars. We had a decent finish. Jake Finch gets the win for Phoenix Motorsports, or Phoenix, whatever the hell the Phoenix Industries. I don't know what the team name is, but yeah. So good on the ARCA series for showing everybody how to do it, because the other 2 series, NASCAR series this weekend, didn't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man.
The Cup guys crashed driving in a straight line, and the Xfinity guys crashed everything they could. So there you go. And Frankie Muniz finished 9th.
Oh yeah, he was back in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in it.
Was he supposed to be running more Xfinity series? I haven't seen him.
I don't know.
Huh.
Right. Well. Amber Balkan finished 7th. Tony Breidinger finished 10th. Tony's the one I want to see do well. I still want to see her do well.
Yeah. I thought Frankie was going to do more Xfinity series racing, but we haven't seen him this year. So maybe that's over.
There was also a whole big fiasco over our friend Natalie Decker, who was on the Xfinity entry list.
Sponsorship problems, blah blah.
Yeah, yep. She was on the entry list, and then they failed to remove her in time, and so it went out that she was supposed to be racing, and then she wasn't, and
it's a whole big. Everybody else's fault.
I got to watch a video on it the other night. I don't know why I sat through that, but anyway.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
How about black flags, James? You got any black flags this week?
Well, I have one quick one, and I got my long story. Okay. So I had this Hunter Waterford tweet that I retweeted. It's the finish from Talladega from his perspective, and you see Corey LaJoie sliding by.
I saw that one.
Well, who's the guy on the scooter? And a follower of mine, Team Cersei Racing, let me know about this, because I didn't even notice it. There's a guy on a scooter right next to the fence, like inches away from Corey LaJoie. I didn't even see it, and I'm like, why in the hell are you on a scooter?
Nah, I gotta go back and look at the video. That's funny.
Yeah, he's just sitting on a scooter.
I didn't notice it.
It's a moped. It seems like a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, he must be somebody who has license to be down there. I don't think anybody can go down there.
I don't. It must be security, right?
Gotta be. Is it a mall cop?
It could be a mall cop. I don't know.
On a scooter instead of a Segway.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, that got pointed out to me, and I laughed, and I said, "Yeah, that's bad.
That's funny.
bad. And also, my black flag is to me. And here's why. So there's this person on Twitter named Dylan. Dylan tweeted out, "Never forget what they took from us, but I want my trailers back." And it was a picture of the Fanatics tent. And if you know me, you know how much I hated that experience. That Fanatics tent was trash from the start. So I reply, most things on this platform are stupid. This take is at the top of that list. If you went to this in person, you know how awful it was. One of Fanatics' early stupid ideas. And then I got a reply from Dylan. Damn, harsh. And I sat there for a moment, and I said, being a troll might not be that fun because it is harsh. The man just wants his Fanatics tent back. Why am I getting so riled up about trailers?
Right?
And I thought about it for a minute, and then I replied.
Oh, no.
And I said, honestly, you're right. Being so defensive over trailers is a stupid take on my part. I took the L because what a stupid thing to get all riled up for on the Twitters. So, Dylan, if you're out there, I apologize. And also, I need to thank the fans of the Los Angeles Rams and Matt Stafford for also helping me clear my ways, because boy, did they come after me for talking some bleep about Matt Stafford. I had a really rough night. April 19th, I got beat pretty bad. I got beat pretty bad on the Twitters. I contemplating I'm just not going to be on there anymore. Or what am I tweeting for?
Yeah.
I had to look in the mirror because I got upset about the stupid Fanatics tent.
And then James immediately tweeted bitching about the lack of scoring pylons. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, I tried to keep it positive, and then I started yelling at Fox, and I didn't learn my lesson that well. But boy, I tell you what, Eric, when he replied damn harsh, I thought, that was harsh. Calling somebody stupid on Twitter, really bad look for me. So,
that's why I like to reply back to the trolls sometimes, because sometimes they just think they're shouting out into nothingness, and sometimes when you make them realize that there's actually somebody there on the other end, and they have a heart.
Well, yeah, and I was like, there is a real person over there on that. Now, the Los Angeles Rams fans that got riled up at me, because this tweet's up to over, this is almost 1.6 thousand impressions now, and a few replies. Matt Stafford and his wife were talking about how fired up they were to play the Lions on their playoff game, and how it's a whole thing. Anyway, and all I said was, with all due respect, the Lions beat that ass, and how's that for closure? And then the Rams fans got all upset.
That's funny.
Yep, and I've got there's a bunch of Matt Stafford facts that were dropped at me. Matt Stafford waving at me, and Eric, you know this creature that sits on the other end of this microphone. I was rooting for Matt Stafford.
Right.
I have nothing bad to say about Matt Stafford. Just don't come in here and think that we owe you something. That's all. That's all.
That's funny. Boy, he got booed though, man. Why did he get booed?
Because it's a playoff game, man.
I know, but still.
It was in Lions hadn't won in a long time, so he can get his flowers next time. He's coming back this year. We'll give him his flowers then.
It's just wrong. Well, James, so my black flag was gonna be Fox, but I already bitched about them enough over the last year, so or however long we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna go with you as well.
Oh no!
Yes. So I.
Double black flag.
Yeah, and it's Lions related again, because somebody has been bitching this week.
I know why.
About the black jerseys, and doesn't like the black alternate Lions jersey. And then I go on social media, James, and I see a picture on the Insta.
Thank you, Todd.
Nope. This is a different one. one.
Oh no, it's a different one.
Here's an Instagram post.
From Eric Jones?
Eric Jones standing at Talladega with a black Lions jersey on. Special delivery arrived yesterday thanks to the Detroit Lions NFL for my set of new 2024 season jerseys. Looking forward to supporting
multiple, plural.
Looking forward to supporting my Lions at the NFL draft next week, wearing a black jersey liked by James Cush and 126 others.
Yeah, it's a set of jerseys, and he's supporting the Lions. I got to support him. Just because I don't like the black jerseys does not mean I don't support the franchise. Yep, that's fine. I'm glad you got that over there. That's good. That's good.
I forgot about it until you gave yourself the black flag, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I've been holding on to this. I was gonna share it in the chat, and then I didn't do it. So
well, the black jersey didn't give Eric Jones any luck on the weekend. I'll tell you that.
No, it didn't. I totally disagree with you, man. The black jersey is awesome. Black jersey is awesome. I get it. Everybody does it, but they do it because it's cool. There you go.
The helmet actually does look.
I haven't even seen
slick.
the helmets. I don't look at the helmets, but
No, the helmet looks slick.
I think
I'll take
the fact
I had a bad week.
the fact that Fanatics is in charge of all the jerseys anymore, I'm so pissed off about the. I don't even care about baseball, but the baseball jerseys are so bad.
Yeah,
it's just.
Remember when Fanatics was a novelty that stormed into NASCAR and annoyed us for a little while, and it's like, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan. James,
bad week for me. Wow.
If Rams fans want to bash you on social media, how can they do that?
Don't follow me anymore. James Cush on Twitter.
You can follow me.
I'll still be there.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. We are also on YouTube as of today. Again, not video, just audio, but it's there. So pretty much anywhere you want to try and find us, you can find us. Wherever you found us this week, please subscribe, continue to listen. We appreciate your support. We appreciate everybody. Leave a like and a comment and a review or whatever on the platform you're using. That's awesome when you guys do that. And if you want to become a part of the show, you can go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway and leave us an audio message. We might just play it on the show. NASCAR heads to Dover, Delaware this weekend in Dover Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series. Wurth 400 on Sunday, the A-Game 200 on Saturday for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We'll be back right here next week to break it all down and discuss everything that happens. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.